Senate Republicans are blocking an effort by Democrats to overturn the president's travel order. California Senator Dianne Feinstein introduced the bill, co-sponsored by more than 30 other Democrats. One of them is Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. She is with us from Washington. Senator, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
First question, your committee votes today on the confirmation of President Trump's pick to be Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Will that be complicated by this news?
I think it will be. This is something where you have the acting attorney general has now been fired. Senator Sessions, I don't believe, was involved in this executive order, but he is being nominated to take over a Justice Department where we want to make sure that politics are not involved. And you have an order that has affected hundreds of thousands of people all over the world, law-abiding people, people that followed the rules with no review by the agencies involved, the law enforcement that enforce the law. And I think you see chaos across the country because of this. So, of course, that is going to be one of the major topics discussed as the senators announce their votes. I think there'll be very thorough discussions because of that fact, as well as Senator Sessions' past opposition to the voting rights, some of the reauthorizations and other issues.
Senator, I know that you've got a number of the Democrats on board to try and overturn this ban, but there are also a number of Republican senators on the record as raising questions. Why haven't they co-signed on to sponsor this bill?
Well, let's give this time. And I have to tell you that when you hear people like John McCain, who was held prisoner for 5 years serving our country, say that this is actually a self-inflicted wound in the war against terror, Lindsey Graham joining in on that, Rob Portman, who says that the vetting rule wasn't vetted. You have senators from really across the spectrum who this weekend had constituents calling saying, you know, my dad went just to go to a funeral. He can't come back. My kid is on a student visa over in Canada, can't come back.
Senator, is this a case in which two people did what they should do? Sally Yates should have basically said, I can't enforce a law that I believe is unconstitutional, and the commander-in-chief should have said, if I have an employee of the United States who doesn't obey the order of the commander-in-chief, then I should fire him or her.
Well, there's a few things here that I think are different. First of all, if she had been consulted at the beginning, we wouldn't have been in the position that we are in terms of how this affects the entire country. Secondly, when he did fire her, he vilified her, and this is a pattern that we've seen, saying that a woman who has served our country in nonpartisan roles under Republican and Democratic presidents has betrayed the Justice Department. Those are the words that they used. And I know Sally Yates. I've worked with her on human trafficking issues. She's someone that actually prosecuted the Olympia Park bomber. She's someone that was well respected in Georgia, went to school down there, worked at a law firm down there, was the U.S. attorney in an area that's, you know, not exactly a liberal bastion. And she herself is not an activist. She is a lawyer and a prosecutor, and she came to the decision that this could well be unlawful, but more than that, that the disruption that it caused was something that she didn't believe should be an order she could enforce.
Senator, you're a former prosecutor as well. Do you think that this order is unconstitutional?
I would want to defer to the courts here, but I think there are some major problems, as you see from the initial ruling from the judge in New York, who said that that these people who had simply come in following the rules, including Iraqi who had helped our own army, should not be detained, should not be held. So I think that there are some constitutional issues. But beyond that, you have the fact that this was implemented in a way that just caused chaos. And governing is different than campaigning. In campaigning, you can make pronouncements and send out tweets, but this is actual governing, and it means working with law enforcement, businesses, and citizens to do the right thing.
Senator, there will be a nominee from the president tonight. Do you expect a rough fight over confirmation for the next Supreme Court justice?
This is a solemn obligation of the U.S. Senate to advise and consent on a president's nominee for the Supreme Court. And the decisions that the court makes affect people in their daily lives. We don't know who he is going to nominate for this job, but I can tell you as a member of the Judiciary Committee that we will be thoroughly vetting this person, that at a hearing there's going to be numerous questions about their views on issues and precedent and their respect for precedent. So I do think it's going to be, as would be with any nominee, a very thorough investigation. And let's add to that, it's a 60-vote threshold, Charlie. It's not 51 like the other nominees that are before us now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Senator Klobuchar from Washington.